Therefore, today it's my privilege to welcome our speaker for the third seminar, Dr. Poli. Welcome.
Everyone, good morning. Okay, now I'm no longer a preacher. Let me talk to you as a teacher, okay? And with the presentation this morning, I will be discussing a bit on leadership. Leadership is a good thing, you know. Everyone wants to be a leader. I remember last September 16, PAU had the privilege of welcoming Honorable, is it Jufa? The governor for Oro. And when he came to PAU, he was talking about leadership. And a lot of people want to become engineers. They want to become pastors. They want to be lawyers. They want to become professors, you know, medical doctors. You know, we want to be professionals. And he got up and reminded, but no one wants to be a politician. So if tertiary students or intelligent people are not wanting to become politicians, nem toko sa mola lemfleps line all place dati I think all by leading country blah blah blah. And I went away thinking about that as well. Sometimes we need to stop and remind ourselves that leadership is a good thing. So long as there is an organization, so long as there is a church, so long as you have a province, we need leaders for those people. And maybe this morning I am looking into the faces to those who will become leaders for our country. I teach leadership for the theology students. I did my doctoral study on leadership, but from the perspective of the church as an organization. So, being a Papua New Guinean, there are two types of leadership practices in Papua New Guinea. We have what they refer to as the big man system, that you find it in about 80% population of Papua New Guinea. And when we talk big man, everyone is born equal, on an equal footing. So if you are from a big man setting in Papua New Guinea, you are born into a setting that all of us have the right to become leaders. But the process of becoming leaders has to come with some degree of accumulation of wealth so that your status is built over time. Let's say, for example, if all of us graduate from either all the university institutions that we are attending, your community will already look at you as a leader, true or false. You go to a community and they are saying, Dr. Poli just graduated with a degree from Pacific Adventist University. There will be other people in that community, but the fact that I received a degree from a university comes with standing in a big man setting. True. You will not talk. This is a seminar. This is not. I already preached, and you don't want me to preach again, you know. It's a seminar, so you feel free to ask questions whenever. You can interrupt me. I'm not offended because I'm teaching right now. So in that setting, people are born equal. And as you go into education, you start to build your status, okay? So becoming the president of ATSA is also building your status in a big man setting. Are you with me? So you get to a place that you want to get married, you know. In a big man setting, you want to marry someone away from where you are. So if you're a rugby player, you go and play in Sydney, and you are from a big man's system, you will lose things like Mary. Well, I'm working about that. So you were finding white Mary, you think. This time you come back to Papua New Guinea, but white Mary walk out, or light skin beginning. You go again, big man, I think. So those kind of things play in a big man setting. Are you with me or not? Yes. So you want to buy a car, you go and work, you become the chief finance officer, maybe for national planning in Papua New Guinea. So when you go down to Ella Motors, you are not going to buy Toyota Corolla because in Mosby there's no potholes, but there's a lot of 10-seaters running around. And why is it that I don't get Toyota Corolla? Why is it that I'm buying 10-seater? Status, this is big man, So when you drive around in a big man society with a 10-seater, it gives you status. So when you're driving into an oval where all the Manus people or all the Engans are there, you drive in with a little Toyota Corolla, or by money, I think work money, important of Papua New Guinea. Am I connecting with you people? So when you go into settings like this, you're driving with a 10-seater, people say, money, money. Status comes with a lot of things because we are from a big man setting. But the challenge is sometimes we can try to get those things, and when you don't have money to get them, we can become corrupt so that we can earn some of these things, so that we can build our status. But in the course of building our status, Papua New Guinea is going down, and the Seventh-day Adventist Church is going down. I went to US and studied, and I used to see professors at Andrews. They will come in, and you can tell the difference between the professors and the students. The only time you tell the difference is when they are standing there and teaching us. But when we come out of our lectures and we go to the parking lot to get into our cars to drive back to our homes and to our houses, these professors will come and get into the Toyota Corona or Toyota Corolla or Camry or Nissan Sunny, and they will drive to their house. If they were professors here in Papua New Guinea, you think they will? Talk to me. Maybe some of them will be driving around in 10-seaters because they show status. So sometimes in a setting like Papua New Guinea, where status and big man setting, we try to show who we are through the possessions that we have. Any question to that? You want to challenge my presentation? Talk to me. I am willing to defend myself. But does that make sense? That's in a big man setting in Papua New Guinea. That's why when I go and see all my kangas in Agen, I go down at, is it Kagamuga? They will come and pick me in a 10-seater or 5-door thing. And we will go, and I know I'm getting into a vehicle where someone has got named Low Community. If I go to Wabek, someone will come and say, Pastor Poli, you want to drive this Toyota VX, So you can stop now, you run long and Wabek, you like, go come to some laws, now you take off your thing. But me go to Manus, all no come give me one blood, Sam. Or Manus from the club of PMB. So was abasite no kat bas saralo mi ba mi klalo fiami na go. So I go and when I go to Manus, I make sure I have 40 kina to give the bus driver abasite. Not because I'm going to sleep in the hotel, but at least I get a good ride from Momoti Airport to Loren, you know. So you start to see dynamics that are being played out as you go to places. Another cultural practice in Papua New Guinea, they refer to it as chieftaincy. And in a place where chieftaincy is used, leadership is, we are not born into a community where we are equal. We are born into a community where leadership are earmarked and set apart. So if you go to a village, if you come to my village in Manus, we know exactly who is the chief in our village. So when it comes to talking, in a big man setting, everyone talks. I remember I was in Agen. I went into a meeting, and everyone in the meeting room spoke. And one thing I love Agen people is that they can speak and they can say the same thing. And that can go for hours and not one Agen person will complain. True or false? You got some Agen stuff loyal, want to blow me, I think. Miko pastor lo Western Islands bisin also talk you because you first plalek bloy lo paglum you wamla kumdi or ramdi. Huh? So also talking me yourself. So you can fight me lo again. You must try blow me back. So, but you start to see those kind of things. But if you come back to Manus, for example, you go to Manus, leadership is not something where all of us, when you come, all council, all fighting bello, or committee fighting bello, we will go and they will make announcement. And the people that respond to a lot of what is being said is not ordinary people in the village, but chiefs from the clans that are in the main village. Because in our community, there are chiefs. We don't compete for leadership. Leadership is already there before I was born into this world. So you find that in Manus, you find that in New Ireland, you find that in East New Britain, in Central, you go to Milne Bay, you find that kind of leadership. But they are in the minority. They are only 13% of Papua New Guinea. So when you go into articles that people are reading about Papua New Guinea and leadership, they are not seeing the 13% that is represented in few island provinces in Papua New Guinea, but they are seeing a blanket perception of leadership in Papua New Guinea from the eye of a big man leadership, cultural leadership practice of Papua New Guinea. So people define leadership in Papua New Guinea from the fact that we are big men, we are born equal, and we accumulate in order for us to create a standing so that I can be talking as a leader to our communities. And some of what is happening is some of what they refer to from the perspective of leadership. When they talk leadership of Papua New Guinea, they are talking big man system. And a lot of scholars were writing on leadership in Papua New Guinea, see corruption from the perspective of accumulation of wealth in order for me to maintain my base and continue to become leaders in Papua New Guinea. So if the opposition is fighting the government today, it's because of the world will look at us not as Christian country, but from the perspective of a nation that everyone is contesting to become leaders, you know. Am I making sense? So in US, they only have two parties, Democrat and what? Republican. It's either a Republican won and the Democrat lose, or the Democrat won and the Republican lose. But in Papua New Guinea, how many parties you think? Brian Kramer, God bless. You brought madam, Opposition leader and PNG party and Belen Nama, I'm got one member of the solo party, but I'm opposition leader. Dr. Alan Maratu, I'm a member of party blend. Power spark up to one kind. So you start to see, all by the Pango, I'm got him 20 people, members. You go to election, not many people were voted in Pango. But once they go there and the current prime minister become Pango leader and is the prime minister, all of a sudden, the Pango party grows with number. This is Papua New Guinea. Because we are perceived as people who are contesting to become leaders. So we will be fighting, and probably in the next 5 years, we will see maybe 2 or 3 prime ministers. So everyone is waiting for 18 months to left before they challenge the current prime minister. But you go to US, Joe Biden will be there. Donald Trump, if you are not happy with me, challenge me in the national election. If you lose, shut up, keep me the palace for the next 5 years, Papua New Guinea by me fighting, go come. Rod blow is Tibetan portal by pull up, blow again and by pull up, blow central, golo abaw and bagarab, na puka temu fighted lo parliament staff. This is leadership in Papua New Guinea. And the leadership that is affecting what we are doing is very much influenced by the big man mentality that we have in this country. You with me or not? Any question? Let me stop here. You asked me to talk leadership. That's what I am trained to talk about. Any question? Me stop now. You're asking question. Time blow me a mat here. Before I will establish the leadership of Jesus, it's better you understand Papua New Guinea first. But if you don't understand Papua New Guinea, you won't understand Jesus, and you'll be confused, young people, Seventh-day Adventist young people in Papua New Guinea. Yes, ask your question. Do you need a microphone? Maybe let's use the cordless one. Okay, this one coming. I'm only stop outside there. If you ask question and I don't have the answer, some of you can come and answer. It's an interaction. 1 hour you were listening to me, now let's listen to all of us. Okay, it's working. You ask your question. It's working. Testing. It's working.
Don't check.
Yeah.
My question is regarding the leadership. Like, I want to ask about the age. The age. Like nowadays, some of us are, small in size and trying to becoming leaders. But especially back in our community, like our big men is already becoming leaders. When we solve some of the issue and we want to represent our families, our ages, not like their age. So when we talk, they don't want to listen to us. But regarding the age, my question is, it is matter or it doesn't matter?
I still believe that there's need for young people to start speaking now. In some of our communities, we have senior people that are there, like big men, but I want us to have a voice, I've been observing. Every place I go, I observe. Sorry for saying this. But I try to observe what people do. So at PAU, I used to see, I don't tell anyone, but I go and I observe. But because of my study, I know that there are certain people who will speak more than others. And every time I go to program, I will see these people come out and talk. I don't tell anyone, but I can tell. And I can guess where they are from. I want to think that at this day and age, we need to create a space where we can speak. That's why I'm saying that education is very important in building a big man person. So if you are a university graduate, people will give you the space. So make the most of your opportunity to study. Yeah. Don't mess around. Study out, graduate, and people will perceive you as a leader and you can speak. Am I right? So I still believe that we need to have a voice. And not only just age, but gender as well. Milukimol officers play Milo. I'm not trying to critique anything, but just I look at the leadership for PNGATSA. The president is a man. The secretary is what? A female or a man? A man. The vice president is what? Female or man? And when I look at the appointment of leaders, I can already perceive the leadership practice in our group. So we need to, you need to be mindful about that. We need to create opportunity where all of us can speak. And I'm suggesting, maybe I am the wrong person to say it, but when you want to appoint leaders, always take into consideration that women have an invaluable place in the leadership that we provide as well. Now, all married, you don't shy away, you know. Why do you go to university so you can shy away from leadership? Am I asking the wrong question or am I asking the right question? So I personally believe that young people should speak up, but young people who are speaking are not only men only. I want to see that women are speaking as well. And I thought that's healthy for the church, for any organization. I admire the president. They call it the Prime Minister for New Zealand? What am name blend again? She released, is it a 5-minute or 2-minute presentation on YouTube? Huh? So what I see in it, she presented something. But during a presidency, she got pregnant and she gave birth to, is it a baby boy or girl? Gave birth to a child. Prime Minister doesn't stop you from being a wife and a mother. It should compliment you. It should give you a lot more love, not only to your child, but to the country that you are serving. So my response is, ever voice, ever voice. There's another question at the back. Okay.
Okay, thank you. My question is regarding church and politics. So in this 21st century Papua New Guinea context, we as the Adventist Church, we are facing an issue regarding the use of the church name in a political arena. We know it is a free country. We know also that the church has guidelines regarding also church leaders contesting for political posts, and also those who are church members already in politics. But the question is the issue surrounding the use of the church name. I think my question to the Seventh Adventist Church, the Union, to make more awareness of the boundaries, because the up and coming generation, we are into a very critical time. Currently, our nation is facing a political crisis. And the use of language and the context that has been discussed all over social media, I think there has to be control. So the church has to come clear as to the boundary guarding the integrity of the church and what has to be said by prominent church leaders and also their political affiliation. Thank you.
You want me to comment, or you're making a statement?
A statement and also a comment from you also.
Okay, thank you. Allow me to make an observation. I need to be very careful. What you need to know is that I'm very close to the Prime Minister, and I'm very close to the opposition leader as well. They are my brothers, even before they go into politics. So I don't say anything, I just stand and just pray only that one day they should come together and lead Papua New Guinea, you know. But I personally believe that politics is not bad. Having Adventists, our leaders, is not bad at all. In fact, God has called us to lead, you know, to be the head. That's what people try to claim from Deuteronomy chapter 28. One thing about when you mention church, we're talking about church as an organization. Sometimes they call it church as an organization, and we also refer to church as an organism, meaning members of the church. And those are things that we need to be mindful about. And in what we do, we must be very careful with what we do, because we must not misrepresent the belief and the church we stand for. And that's probably what you are referring to here. But now, the Seventh Adventist Church is leading. We are the opposition leader. We are also the Prime Minister of this country. Like I said, we are also the Chief Secretary. Brother Ivan has been appointed to be the Chief Secretary. Even the Chief Justice is also a Seventh Adventist. Even his deputy is a Seventh Adventist too. So the Seventh Adventist is in a very good position to bring about change for Papua New Guinea. But whether that eventuates or not is subject to the commitment of each individual who are out there to represent God in leadership. And that's something that we need to be mindful about. When you are appointed into leadership position, you must never forget that you are a son of God, a daughter of God. You are representing Jesus through the Seventh Adventist Church. And that must never go away. One thing about leadership is that when you get so obsessed with the power that is given you, you forget Jesus. You know? And that's something that we need to be mindful. But in the scripture, we have people like Joseph. He was in Egypt. He was the prime minister, but he was still the Son of God. We also have Daniel while he was in captivity in Babylon. He was there for over, he was 18 when he was taken into captivity. Am I correct? Or some of us can? So he was in his late teenage years, and he died probably in his late 80s or 90s. So he was in position for over 70 years. And not one bit did he betray the God of heaven. And that's something that we need to challenge ourselves when we are Adventists, young people, educated Adventists, educated Papua New Guineans. You will be given responsibility, but never forget that you are there for something more. If I'm asked to be the member for Manus, I will never contest for Manus Open or Regional because God has allowed me to be a pastor, So if I go there and I'm asked to be the member for Manus, I need to make sure that I bring services to Manus. Manus is not a big place. I don't know why we need 20 million when we can clean the town with 100,000 or something. But, things like this, so you provide service to that province, but at the same time, you must never forget that you are Seventh-day Adventists. And that is something that we need to keep at the back of our mind. Seventh-day Adventists and the God of heaven is lost in a lot of leaders today because they don't know how to use the power that God has given them. You see it in politics, you see it in the Seventh-day Adventist church as well. People think that they have all the right to do anything with anyone when they are in power, when they forget that the power that is given is only delegated for a few moments and it's taken away again. And the people that give you the power are the people of Western Islands province that give the power to who? Pius Wingti. After 5 years, they will run in all corners of Western Islands to make sure that they vote them, Now all come up member, all voters find him all money. But time of election, they will look for the members to vote them. Maski na sa kailan flips all by give you think. You just look him this law. But that's what happened. I think my time is up. Huh? Can I stop here? About what I like to do, I want to go into can I give them a little break and then I go to my other presentation on 7th? Probably when I get into 7th, I'll come back to a lot more questions. So at least you have a background. I've given you the cultural leadership practice of Papua New Guinea. By now you understand them already. Yeah? Allow me to go back to 7th and provide for a biblical background, and then maybe we can discuss a bit, but please, if the leader talking to me, now I felt like I'm very conscious with time when I'm doing my presentation. Me looking at some low morning, me overly, but me to say, look at Brother Leroy's. I'm saying go more, I'm saying short, so maybe let me equate and balance that. So you have no time to say, okay, 7 to 8 for Brother Leroy, so you can go to 9. But you want to control my time, so I said, let me remind the officers that I can control their time too, But the enemy took place, so. But what we need to do is, I'm very mindful when we're talking time. So when I teach, I can feel that it's 50 minutes and I can just stop. I don't have to look at time, I can feel 50 minutes when I'm teaching. So I'm probably beyond time right now. Can I give you a break or just break for 2 minutes, 3 minutes? Maybe you got cross long and reconcile, na you pray, and then come back, na you start everything. Let's do that. Am I right? Am I right? Okay, thank you. Just give me a few minutes and then I'll continue with 7th and then I'll take a few more questions and we can complete for that day. Thank you, thank you.